Welcome to episode 13 of the Make Music Income podcast, where we talk about disco all day long. No, just kidding. We talk about making music income and how composers and producers and musicians and artists and everybody can make music income to bring in part-time income, to bring in full-time income, or somewhere in between. Any of those is good. And so we talk about all those music things. And today we're going to talk about social media for composers and producers. Do we need it? What things should we be looking at? What things should we use? I've heard a lot of people talking about on recent podcasts using social media for their music, and these are mostly artist podcasts, right? These are mostly people talking about how you should, what you should do. And I don't want to go deep into how to create social media today. I want to talk about the social media networks, which ones are important to us as composers. And we both have stories about what we have gotten from those social media networks. And we will be including YouTube in this, even though some people might say, oh, YouTube's more of a video channel. But I think there are a lot of aspects of YouTube that are social in nature, where you are having conversations with people and talking with people. But first, let's get to our weekly updates. And Steve, say hello to everybody.
Hey guys, how's it going?
He's practicing
working on
his
my radio voice.
He's working on his
on my
monologue. He's
podcast
going to
voice.
do some introductions.
Okay, next week I promise hold me accountable here. I'm going to do the introduction, not Eric, and I'm going to practice all week, do a very lively introduction. Trying to work on my monotonish voice, not being so monotonish. So, what did I get up to this last week? Well, I've been using social media to try and make a little bit of passive income myself. I guess, I mentioned on last week's episode that I went into an affiliate partnership with Output.
Yep.
And that's been working out really well. I've, not rich, but I made a couple $100 from
Cool.
from people clicking on the link. And
That's nice.
Yeah, that's cool.
Something.
And it's a good partnership because I do really believe in their products. I think they make great products, and I'm happy to promote them. So so that was cool. And
Did this come mostly from your video about Output?
Yeah. I made a little video about Arcade, and I sent that to their team, and they loved it, and they're going to use that in some of their marketing materials too. So hopefully that'll kind of help promote the YouTube channel a bit. And
cool.
I do use Arcade legitimately in a lot of the stuff I write, and I do find it helpful. And I have some some thoughts about leaning too heavily on like melodic loops and stuff like that. Same goes for Splice, but I do find it really helpful, and for in the way that I kind of demonstrated in that video. So anyway, if you haven't seen it, go check it out.
One thing in that video, one of the loops you used, I totally used for a song last year, and used a lot of the same ones. I can't remember. It was one of the hook things.
Oh yeah.
Or it was one of those ones that you use, because I heard a couple samples. I'm like, oh, dude, I'm glad you didn't use that sample, because I've got a whole song that basically uses that sample.
Well, see, this is the problem with using samples, which is why I try to mask them and mess with them as much as I can. But anyway, yeah. So that was a fun video to make, and I made use of my 3-angle camera setup here, which took me to figure
fancy.
out. Trying to up my production value on YouTube a little bit. Working on the MIDI packs this week. A lot of people reached out to me after I kind of put that out there on the last podcast about looking for people to help with MIDI packs. A ton of like super talented and interesting people from all over the world reached out, and it was super cool just to see like everyone's website and their reel and like what everyone's working on. And man, so awesome to connect with people from all over the world, and composers and producers, and it was a humbling kind of experience, because it made me realize that people are listening, and like that's so awesome, and like really you kind of forget that's like there's actually people listening to this when we're talking like this right now. It's like you don't really think about it, but people are interested and listening and connected, and that's like a really great feeling. So
I corrected spelling in the Discord one time on a word, and people were saying, that's how Americans spell it, not people in Europe. And I'm like, duh, I forget that there's so many,
Yeah,
non-American, probably at least half of the people watching are not, living in America or even Canada, even in North America at all. They're just all over the place,
Totally.
especially in Europe. So I know our Discord, when I get those things in and they say where they're from, Europe is sometimes the highest
Right.
population.
Yeah, right.
So,
Well, it's cool, man. I mean, it's an international community in there, and same with the academy, and it's awesome to have people
Yeah.
listening. So big shout out
it makes it so fun.
to wherever and whoever you are. Awesome.
Yep.
Yeah, geez, what else is new? My mom's birthday is today. Big shout out to my mom. Happy
birthday.
Love you. She doesn't listen to this podcast. Why would she? She's not a musician.
My mom would if
she's
she
a
was
pianist.
still
She's a good
with
piano
us.
player.
Yeah, so was mine.
Big shout out to our moms.
Yeah. My mom in heaven. Is that it?
That's it. Yeah. What's new with you?
Okay. Well, we were talking off air about stock music and things like that. And one of the videos I am leaning in, before I have a bunch scheduled that don't have a lot to do with stock, I have one more stock video that I've been kind of planning to do called Starting with Pond 5.
Mm-hmm.
And it may seem a little obvious, or a lot of people might be thinking, oh, Pond 5 is kind of like, isn't that old tech? Isn't that an old thing? But I'm telling you, I did a poll last night about Pond 5,
Mm-hmm.
and at least, let's see if I can find it, 41% say they start with Pond 5 out
Yeah.
of 60 votes so far.
Yeah.
And then 20 said they usually put it on Pond 5 at some point. That's 61% of the people say they do put things on Pond 5, and I do. And I've actually been talking with Pond 5 and told them I'm doing this video, and it's not sponsored or anything, but I talked to them about their membership program, which is they've had for a while, and this is not something that people don't know about. This kind of, they've started a subscription type service a little bit with Pond 5. So as I say in my video, now we'll get paid even less for each sale, but for each sale we don't get in the first place. But and as a matter of fact, as an aside, they accepted my catalog, my entire catalog, for their P5 membership thing. And I tell everybody how to get on that and how to go through that, because it's not a thing on the site that you can just find. You have to kind of know it. Those
Okay.
who know.
Okay.
And so I talk about that. I talk about how I use it as kind of a beginning place for all of my stock music, and how I think it's a great starting place for everybody. And it's like we talked about off air. I think stock continues to be a great starting place for composers, because not everybody is ready today to send stuff to exclusive music libraries, or even to a mid-tier library. So
that's
you
so
gotta
true,
start
and it's
somewhere.
It's good. It's great that there is a place that's accessible for people to start. Because I mean, a lot of these the libraries are like they have their doors closed. Even Audio Jungle. I mean, that's where I started, was with Audio Jungle, and I'm grateful that they had that. Anyone could join up and send the music, because a lot of these libraries now are just kind of like, they're not even accepting applications. So I mean, or they're very hard to get into, right? It's like insanely competitive. Whereas Pond 5 is kind of like ideal for a place to kind of just start. And if you get a sale there, then like that's awesome. That's great motivation.
And it gives you an understanding on how to post stuff. And part of this video is I'm giving away a free kind of super mini course. It's just a one little module on how to upload. It won't be part of the video. It'll be separate, that they can get for free from my site, but on just how to upload to Pond 5, a few secrets about templates and stuff like that.
Yeah. And
just for the people who are just starting, because I know on my channel, especially with a video like Pond 5, that one is going to get about 50-50, 50% subscribers, 50% brand new people wanting to know about Pond 5, because they're just going to be searching for Pond 5 information. And so, because I know I did when I first started, I was searching for information on each of these libraries, and that's why I ended up making a channel to some extent, because
Dude,
I couldn't
same
find
here.
videos on Song Trader, I couldn't find videos on Taxi that I trusted, other than people just trashing it. And so I just said, I'm going to make some videos of my own.
Yeah.
So that's coming up. Pond 5 should launch. Today is Thursday. Should launch tomorrow. We'll see. You know, as I've said before, I'm not a very scheduled guy with videos. They go out when they're ready, and I don't find that really affects how people watch them. I almost prefer to launch on weekends sometimes, because I think people will watch when they have nothing else to do on weekends, because there's not much being put out. But this week's rather big news is it looks like I have another Crucial Music signing, number 5.
Oh, nice.
I'm kind of like on a roll with them. I'm like 3 out of 6. 3 out of 6. 3 out of my last 6, which is good for Crucial, because up to that point I was only like 2 for 20, and now in the last 6 I've got 3 6. And Crucial is a non-exclusive library that does its own pushing and does its own. So it's very high quality, or at least they're very picky about what they take. So far,
And you always send them singles, right? Like that you're not sending. Yeah, that's cool. That's good to know.
Can upload 3 at a time, and it takes about 2 months for them to go through them and hear back. They're saying now 12 weeks, but it's usually 2 months
for them to get back to on your submission.
Yep.
Wow, that's a long time.
Yeah. So you only probably can put up about 3 6. You can only put up about 12 songs a year to try to get in, and that's how they keep it under control. Though, you know, they allow 3 submissions, and they only look for high quality. And so far, it seems to be. I mean, I've had folk accepted there. I've had Christmas stuff, several Christmas things accepted there. I've had 2 now classical things accepted there, and what was the other thing? I can't remember. But yeah, so it's all over the place. But they do pitch, and you can see when they've pitched stuff. And so I've heard good things. I know people who have had good signings with them. So that I consider that a nice success this week. Motion Array is terrible this month, and it is for a lot of people. I am, if things keep going the way they're going, I'm going to be lucky to get the $50 payout for me.
Yeah,
but
it's not much better for me. I'm like at 150. I'll probably have trouble breaking 200 this month.
Yeah. I won't break 100 unless something happens. Taxi, no forward so far. 1 outstanding waiting to hear back from. And then I started teaching more this week. I'm continuing to add teaching to my income streams, just local lessons and things like that, which is good because the company I'm teaching for pays every week on the same day. It's like the first day of the week, and you just get money deposited right in your account. And so that's good. And any income that is consistent, especially for those of us who do not have any consistent income, is a good thing. So I've pretty much put everything up on Identify, and almost all of it is accepted and in. And so that's over 100 songs.
Oh, wow.
So far.
Yeah, I put a select group of songs on Identify yesterday and updated it all with Motion Array. Yesterday, actually,
I need to do that. I haven't done that yet.
Yeah, I wrote them, and they just did it for me, so I didn't even have to do anything. It was kind of nice of them to do that.
I'm just gonna say, hey, everything I have is now in Identify, so just change everything.
Yeah, they might make you do it.
Okay, that's fine.
But
I don't care.
Yeah. I mean, I'm curious to see how this all plays out, but I couldn't put all of my stuff on Content ID because, of course, my Artlist contract prohibits me from registering it with a Content ID service. So,
well, this doesn't count, obviously, all my exclusive library stuff, which is probably at least that many songs, if not more. And so I can't do that for the exclusives. But from now on, Identify, I guess, will just be part of the process.
Yeah.
Pond 5, Motion Array, Audio Jungle, Identify, and then whatever else other ones. I've got some new ones I'm putting stuff in just to see how they do this year. But again, following that rule that because since Motion Array has dropped their income so much, and that hurts my overall monthly income from stock music, then I have to really spend very little time on it, you know?
Right.
And so.
Yeah, Identify it's become a new stock library.
Well, here's the way I think of it. It's like the line. Here's a perfect line, and on one side we have stock, and on one side we have sync. And in sync stuff, we are putting stuff up there to hopefully get an upfront and to get money in the back end through our PRO. Mm-hmm. On the stock side, what we're doing is making money on a monthly basis for sales, hopefully, and then the back end is Identify or whatever ad rev or whoever you're using as your collector for Content ID. So right. We'll talk more about that in an upcoming Content ID update episode once we start to see some income or start to see anything from that.
Yeah, we're hoping to do a little Content ID revisit episode before this month's up. So we'll get back to that subject for sure.
Absolutely. And I am just waiting for YouTube's knowledge to catch up to what my stats are already telling me, that I'm over 4,000 watch hours on Make Music Income. So I'm waiting for the email to say you're eligible to monetize. It should happen. Somehow they're behind a little bit from what my stats are telling me to what they say I need to be monetized. It's like they're frozen a little bit at 3,900 or something like that. But anyway, that's about to happen, which is kind of interesting. And another way, having a music channel that you can monetize and make music income from, is something I'm doing. And then the rest is just work. The rest is just work for clients, doing videos for a lot of clients and doing a lot of arrangements, which I have to then have Nashville players play on, and I've had to, a lot of those I'm actually doing myself, the piano arrangements, and then filling out with either players or doing the arrangements and orchestrations and band stuff myself. One way or the other, I do it.
Nice.
So there's lots more. Premium Beat, waiting to hear back from that still.
I still haven't heard back,
Originals, haven't heard back. And working on a contemporary country album with did we talk about last week that I had talked with my Sony BMG library, and he told me a little bit about how they work as far as getting things?
No.
Getting placements. Sony actually goes out and does the getting placements for any of the libraries that are tied to them, and this library I work with is tied to them. So basically what they do is they have interns, they have people who are specialists who all they do all day long is respond to briefs that get sent to Sony, right. and then they'll just go through and they'll go through all the albums and say, oh, we need pop stuff. Let's go to all the pop albums right. we have and all these things, and they'll find songs and they'll make a whole big bunch and they'll send it off to this brief. And so I thought that was pretty cool because I didn't know that was how it worked. And I mean, that's the Reader's Digest version, but that is, and a lot of people don't even know what that means, Reader's Digest version. That's the short version of
I remember the Reader's Digest. I remember that.
That's the short version of how it works. But I thought that was pretty cool that Sony
notes.
Actually has people actually doing their briefs and stuff like that. And that's what you get when you work with an exclusive library versus working with stock music libraries. And or someone like Crucial, who is they are getting placements into TV programs or movies or things like that by actually doing, pitches out to briefs that they see. I'm sure they get briefs all the time and they're pitching their catalog.
Right.
And that's the difference between a library that's working for you and a stock library that's just sitting there offering everything for people to search and find,
Yeah, well, some of these stock tracks are showing up in bigger ad campaigns. I think that that's something that maybe we'll have to talk about more sometime.
And I do talk about that in my Pond 5 video because Pond 5 has Pond 5 Publishing. I don't know if you've ever done that with them before.
No.
But if you enter that in with them, they take over the publishing of a song, and you may wonder, why would I do that? And this is in my video. Well, the reason you want to do that is because Pond 5 then make sure that if something is used in a television show, they're the point of contact for that show, and they're the point of contact for that client. They make sure a cue sheet is signed. because they are motivated to make the publishing side of it.
Mm-hmm.
So before I thought, oh, this is just them wanting some more money. But what it really is a way we can ensure that we're going to get, if there is a TV possibility with a Pond 5, which I'm sure happens, somebody's looking for a cheap song and they pay the broadcast license at Pond 5 or Audio Jungle. And Audio Jungle asks you for all your BMI info, but I guess Pond 5 does too. But
I mean, are they really making, it's like,
I haven't seen anything on any of mine yet, but
are they really making sure that anyone's filing the cue sheets? I mean, because if the cue sheets are being filed one way or the other, and you're self-publishing, then you could collect on both.
But you don't know what if something's been used. They're the only ones who know who the client is. Pond 5. You don't know from your end when someone decides to use pays a broadcast license on Pond 5 that who the client is. That's protected through Pond 5, but Pond 5 knows. And if they get that thing and they're doing the publishing with you on that, then they're motivated to make sure that cue sheet is filled out right. And versus the cue sheet may or may not be filled out since they say, we just got it off Pond 5. So I think there's a better possibility of getting something in the back end being part of Pond 5 publishing. And I didn't know that till this last week when I talked to them about it and I looked in their information about it. So I talk about that in the video. So
yeah, that's
coming out here. By the time this video comes out and this podcast comes out, that video will be up on Make Music Income, the Pond 5, starting with Pond 5, and that's why you'll want to watch that.
Okay, cool.
Okay, so I think we're ready to get to today's topic, and that is social media and using social media for composers and producers. I think a lot of people are artists and use social media and are influencers and use social media, and their goal is one thing: to be seen and to be heard. And is it the same for composers and producers? Is it the same thing? Are we just attention hogs and we just are narcissists and we just want to be seen and we want to be heard? Mm-hmm. And this also goes for music brands. And I think all composers and producers who are trying to do stock music, sync music, anything like that, are trying to build awareness of their business and new clients through social media as well.
Yeah.
So that's what we want to talk about today as we go through the various social media platforms and how they are best used to bring people to your brand, to make people aware of your music, and to how is it going to help you? So
yeah, well, it's a great discussion because I think for those people out there who are just kind of don't really have much of a presence on social media, I think it could feel really overwhelming trying to understand like where is a good starting point. And it's also, some people just feel allergic to social media in general. And I think I kind of sympathize with that on some level. From what I've kind of experienced with it thus far, just my experience on YouTube and making a few TikToks, my Instagram, or whatever, YouTube especially, because that's the social media platform I'm the most active on. I think what really helps, and is a good starting point in terms of like bringing awareness to your brand, is offering value to listeners and this could take on so many different forms. Like for you, for example, like the Hello Composers video. It's like it's an educational video, mm-hmm. right? Mm-hmm. It's educational content. And that's useful. That brings a lot of value to people who are searching, like how do modes work? They're going to come across your video being suggested, hopefully. And through their connection to that, that's going to bring awareness to your brand as a whole. It's going to bring awareness to the music that you're writing even. I think that's a really important sort of philosophy in terms of like how I approach social media, is that I think a lot of people kind of maybe approach it with a more of a narcissistic kind of, in a way, like just like, hey, look at what I'm doing. Here's my, check out my music. But it's like there's so much going on in the social media, universe. I think that a great way to cut through the noise is to offer something of substantial value, because it's really hard to, get anyone to care if you're just like saying like, hey, here's like, or you just post your song, or like you just post something that you're doing. It's like, I think there needs to be an exchange of value. Would you agree with that?
Yeah. And I think especially, I would agree with that completely, but I would also say that the big thing is that we're going to have to make a plan for each of the things that we decide to use. So if you decide to use TikTok, what is the plan there? Because I am not a social media watcher except for YouTube. I watch YouTube every night like clockwork. It's my, and I know a lot of people who are watching this video or listening to this podcast, they're the same. It's our college, it's our education.
That's
and
exactly
all these things. You know?
You're watching YouTube to get educated. That's why I watch
Absolutely.
it too.
And that's one reason why I decided to put a channel up and teach on there, because I felt that was the right audience to teach to. And I actually kind of like that even better than live teaching, to be honest. Mm-hmm. But I think there has to be a plan, and each one there has to be a plan for. And I'm going to go through my plan today. And if you look at the video, I'll put it. We'll put it in the links. The video I did with Tom Dupree. If you could put that in the links this week, or I'll put it in the links for the podcast, and then you can copy that and put it in the links for the YouTube. But that has a section where he talks about how he grew his YouTube and his Instagram. Is that in my video, or did he do that in his video? One of the two videos. I'll find the link and I'll make sure I put it in there, because he laid out exactly how he grew all his main three, I think, which were Instagram and YouTube, maybe Facebook. I can't remember what the other one was. No, it was Spotify. He was really concentrating on growing those three things.
Right.
Excuse me. And so I am too. But TikTok, I think, is an outlier because it's out there by itself a little bit. It's like Instagram used to be, where Instagram was this thing out by itself where you couldn't really do much linking from it. People were used to things like Facebook or LinkedIn, where they could put links in there and say, hey, I just put a new video out, go to YouTube and watch it, or hey, go to my website and find this new sale, or all that kind of stuff. And you could do that through Facebook. You still can. You could do that through LinkedIn.
You can add a link to your TikTok profile. I have one in mind.
You could add one link. You can add one link in Instagram. It's the same as Instagram used to be, except now Instagram's owned by Facebook. So you have a little bit of meshing going on between those two companies now. You can kind of do ads and stories and all that kind of stuff to both at once if you want to. You can tie your...
That's all due to TikTok's influence. Can't be understated how incredibly powerful TikTok is as a discovery platform right now. YouTube Shorts, Instagram Reels, all of those came about because of TikTok's influence. I think
there's a LinkedIn Shorts now too.
Way bigger than, I mean, it's a huge competition to Instagram and or Facebook, I should say, and YouTube. It's massive. And I think a lot of people don't really realize it, because a lot of people are listening are like our age or above, and it's just not, they're not aware of like how many, like anyone 25 under listening to this podcast is probably completely disinterested in Facebook. Like they're not
Absolutely.
even on it. And
they're
it's like
on it.
Facebook is essentially, it's a completely different demographic. And I mean, TikTok is an incredible discovery platform, and it gets the videos get a lot of reach.
I know. My last Reels is up to 6,000 views right now, and I just shot this morning my second Hello Composer short. I think I'm gonna alternate. I'm gonna do a Hello Composer's video, and then I'm gonna do a short, and then video, then short, video, then short. And that's gonna be my strategy for Hello Composers, just because I've got a little bit of comedic element to that with Beethoven and Little Beethoven, Lil B, I call him. And so I've got this thing and the tea. There's a whole thing about tea, and that's what this short is about. But those that's one way to approach shorts, is comedy or entertainment of some kind. And of course, the biggest ones are dancing ones or just funny ones with a song in the background that's really popular.
Or helpful educational stuff too. I've seen
that's the
a
second
lot
one,
of people throw in like, 3 ways to, 3 reasons that this is happening, in the span of a minute. And it's amazing, man. Like some of them just get like insane amounts of reach. And yeah, I see a lot of producers doing that with their shorts and on TikTok as well. And, most of these guys are putting the same videos out on shorts, reels, and TikTok.
Yeah, I made a little video, and I don't do more because I don't have time. If I had more time, what I would do for my Make Music Income brand is just make shorts, 2 or 3 shorts out of each video, where I go on a rant about something, or I make a joke about something, or I do something stupid, or say something funny or something, and I teach a really important point about a new library or something like that. I have a lot of those kind of moments in this Pond 5 video coming up, but I had a lot of those in that 4 rant video that I did a while ago about social media.
Yeah.
And I did rant one, but I plan to do the rest of them. And I've got so many that I could have done for all of the videos, but there's only so much time to make this content. Mm-hmm. And so I thought about my goal is with Make Music Income to do a short every as often as possible, because one filmed short like I filmed today, I can turn into a TikTok, I can turn into a reel, and I can turn into a short. And I think there's Facebook shorts now, which are Facebook reels now, which I could do. And then I think even TikTok, LinkedIn.
LinkedIn
get all
doing
these
reels
things
now?
Confused. But no, LinkedIn has shorts, I believe.
Oh, they do?
I think they have a short thing now,
that.
I believe. Yeah. This stuff changes every week. So what we're talking about now, by next week, it could be different. But I think it depends. Like one time I did a short and YouTube won the number of views. It had I've got a short on YouTube on my Make Music Income channel, my second one that's got 2,000 or 3,000 views.
Amazing.
And then my short for Hello Composers has, I think, 1,000 views or something. But anyway, so my short strategy is on Hello Composers to do funny ones, and my short strategy on Make Music Income when I get to it is to do more reels and TikToks and things like that that are informational. And I think you have to have a strategy like that. On Instagram, my general thing is just to make sure I put a picture or a video clip up from every video that tells people, hey, the new video is available. It's on YouTube. Go to the link in bio, because if they go to my link in bio, they'll come up to a little list of things, and you can go to the newest video. You got to make it so that TikTok or Instagram, since you got one link, you better make that link a good one and go to some kind of link in bio. And when I say link in bio, some kind of link tree thing, so that they can go right to your YouTube, because they want to see that video, or they can go right to this ebook you're talking about that you made or whatever.
Yeah, I use a service similar to Linktree called solo.to, I think. Mm-hmm. Same idea. I pay for it just because I feel like the Linktree stuff is like, if you're getting the free version, it's a little bit wonky, if I remember correctly. Yeah. But I pay for it. It's real cheap, and it's got links to everything: YouTube page, my Spotify, all the important stuff.
I use WordPress, and they have a link in bio kind of template for a page. Oh yeah. So I just use a page on my website. So when people go to my link in bio, it's just an actual page on makemusicincome.com.
That's cool.
That looks like a link tree, and then they can just click the buttons from there. So and it also deposits them on my website. So if they decide to go looking around on the menu, that's good too. So but I like all those. There's Feature FM, there's a bunch of these, Tone Den, there's a bunch of these things that let you send people everywhere. Send people to Spotify if you're a musician, you want them going there and stuff like that.
Tone Den's actually pretty great. We should talk about Tone Den for a minute, because I used that when I worked for the label that I used to work for, and they have a free version where you can essentially trade like a download of a file for a follow on SoundCloud or on your Spotify.
That's cool.
Yeah. And that's what the label used to do, and it worked beautifully. And I've done this with a few of the like the videos that I've of tracks that I put up, the remix songs. Like you can download like a file of it or something, and it automatically just like makes it so that whoever's downloading it like has to give you a follow on SoundCloud. Some people aren't really into that kind of thing, but most people are just like, yeah, sure, you know.
So let's finish up about TikTok, because basically there's one thing to do on TikTok, and that's put small videos up there. I don't think there's any other media that you can put up there, right? Just video.
As far as I know, yeah, it's just short videos for it.
So
right now. Yeah.
You're going to be concentrating as a composer or producer on putting up either a music piece of you jamming on something. I see a lot of people doing that, or the actual song with some kind of graphics or something, or you're going to be talking to people, to the camera, and being stupid or being funny or being smart, you know, and teaching type of thing, and trying to get them to then, if either just doing it for the sake of growing your TikTok channel, or doing it for the sake of getting them to go to that little to your bio, so they'll go to your YouTube site or to your website or whatever you want.
Yeah.
That's how I see TikTok as. That's why I think it's the most limited and the most outlier of them, because there's no really other thing to do except waste more time watching more TikToks, which is what most people end up doing.
Yeah.
Just doing this and laughing and laughing. And then you get stuck there for an hour. I don't, but I don't watch much TikTok. But any other thoughts about TikTok as far from your perspective?
Yeah, well, I don't spend a lot of time on it. I do that the exactly what you're talking about, but I do that with YouTube Shorts, like on my phone. You know, like if I'm waiting for something like my something in the microwave or something like that, I'll just throw on YouTube Shorts and I'll watch those in the same way that people consume the TikTok content. But yeah, like you said, you know, it's a great platform. It's limited in terms of what the kind of videos you can put up there, but it's kind of cool to have that limitation. You know, it's like you got to do something kind of interesting in a minute. Man, you know, I'm terrible at that kind of stuff, so I'm trying to get better.
The discoverability at TikTok is so high with hashtags, because that is all there is. That's the only world there is. Is there's no. It's not like Instagram or Facebook where they have posts and they have pics and they have other videos and they have stories, and they may have stories now, I don't know, but they just have these videos. It's like a one-trick pony, kind of like YouTube used to be, where it was just it's videos. There's nothing else except videos, and that's why you go to YouTube to watch videos. You go to TikTok to watch short-form videos, and that's pretty much what you go there for. And again, for composers and producers, that's where you want to put that stuff. But if you're smart, now making them in TikTok and making them in Reels, making them in the actual program lets you do a lot of things.
Yeah.
But if you make a vertical video on your phone that's not branded, that you don't make it TikTok, that you just make yourself, you can post that to TikTok, and then you can go down and post that over at Instagram on their Reels. And Instagram has two kinds of video. They have the Reels, which is just like TikTok, and then they have just video that you can upload. They used to have this thing called IGTV. They don't have that anymore. They just have video.
They got rid of IGTV?
Yeah, it's just called video. It's just videos now. And your videos can be anywhere from, you know, in 30 seconds to, I don't know, 5 minutes, 10 minutes. They can be long. And so they just have a video channel now, basically. They don't have IGTV anymore. They just decided to make it all video. So
you can export your TikTok videos too, so that it doesn't have to be like a vertical video outside of TikTok. You can just do it right.
You can, but if there's branding
branded
on there from TikTok, and you can have that removed and all that kind of stuff. But the problem is if you're using a song from TikTok, like someone's song, like a Kanye song or something to do your video to, you can't put that on Reels. You have to use Reels natively and then pick that same Kanye song. And you have to hope that Reels and TikTok and YouTube Shorts, all three offer the same song. On my Mission Impossible video that I did for Make Music Income, I had to find another version of Mission Impossible for Shorts because they didn't have the same one as TikTok and Reels did. And you can't use those things just for free. You have to use it inside of that particular platform. So on Reels, you can only use the music that they have to be legal, to be street legal, right? Because that music's available for you to use because Instagram has made the deals with the companies.
Right.
I would imagine Facebook and Instagram might work together. You might be able to share an Instagram reel at the same time on Facebook and Instagram. I'm pretty sure you can, because they're the same company. And so
yeah,
I'm
you
sure
can
they've
just
made
you
the
can
deal.
just like make it automatically go right to Facebook. I see that option
Yep.
on the Reels
Yep.
now.
So but you also have on Facebook and on LinkedIn and on and Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn, you have stories where you can do a daily. These can be videos as well. These can be just check-ins. These can be just pictures about what you're thinking, and they only last for 24 hours. I believe, does YouTube have stories now? I think YouTube might even have stories now. I'm pretty sure they do.
Let me check.
Let's check really
I can't
quick.
remember.
But YouTube stories. It's the second thing that comes up even
Right.
before shorts.
Right.
The
Yeah.
short shelf used to be on first. Now it's stories. So you can do, and there's not many people doing them that I follow. Only 3 stories of the 100 people I follow. So not everybody's doing them.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're a person who likes to do stories and you have a YouTube channel, that might be a way you can kind of get seen and heard early, because not many people are doing it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a big fan of early adopting on anything, really. So that's Instagram. And my main thing with Instagram is I just want to make sure I can post as often as possible, once a day if possible, but I never remember. So at least the day that I release a video, I want to put a picture of the screen, or I want to make, sometimes I'll go in Photoshop and I'll make a square version of the thumbnail and put that up there. It's got to be square, because if you don't make it square and you put the thumbnail from your YouTube video up, it'll crop off the sides in their feed. Not in their feed, but at least in your squares that you see. I don't remember what they call that, but
They crop off a bit of the top and bottom with the Reels too, don't they? If you're shooting vertical
Yep.
video, yeah.
Yep.
So
Yep. And so you got to really be careful with your thumbnails for those things, for Reels and for pics. So if you put a pic that's not square in there, it may get funky how it looks in. We're all just calling up our things here, but when you go to your main profile and you're looking at all your squares there, it'll be funky on some of them if you're not careful. And that's important, because you want people to see the title in the thing. If it's a blog title, you want them to be able to see that title, and you can't see that at all very well. But yeah, man, I think Instagram is about consistency. It's about the way I know Tom Dupree grew his was to put a story up every day of the year, 365 days of stories. And I see them every day every time I go to Instagram, he's what I see usually first.
it's crazy.
And then I think the Reels are the thing that get the most kind of traction
On
from
Instagram,
strangers.
yeah, they're pushing them hard, yeah.
And so I'm going to be doing more of those with certainly with my Hello Composers brand, but I'm going to try to do that with Make Music Income as well. And I don't put much regular video up. I just don't think that people want to sit at Instagram and watch a 5-minute video.
No.
Any more than on their phone.
No, I don't. I think you're right.
I think they still want the short content, and I think that's best. People just don't have the attention span. If they're going to watch long content video, it's going to be on YouTube. So that's Instagram. How about Instagram for you?
Oh, I don't know. I'm terrible at this stuff. I'm trying to learn. I'm trying to figure it all out. I think maybe YouTube is the only social media platform that I've kind of embraced and had some success with. I mean, I have an Instagram, like a personal Instagram account, but I don't really think of that as a way to promote much, really. I just kind of like throw up a picture every now and then. So I'm trying to get good at working my Production Music Academy Instagram account, which is growing slowly. I think I got 75 followers here, and I've uploaded a couple of reels in the last 2 weeks. But man, I want to get to Tom Dupree levels and just like get on this daily. But it's, for some reason, I'm having a hard time thinking about it on a daily basis. And I think that, I'd like to get there, but I think it's not going to happen overnight. I think I'm going to try. I've gone from like once a month to like twice a month to like now I'm doing like one a week. And eventually, I think it's just something I need to get in the groove
Let's
of.
talk about why we don't. Let's just pause here
Yeah.
before we get to Facebook and YouTube and LinkedIn and talk about why don't we put more to TikTok and Instagram?
Yeah, that's a good point.
And it could be that neither of us use it very much. In other words, neither of us probably use it just to check everybody out. Now, you did share a picture with me today, and it was a shocking picture.
Shocking.
That did feature more skin than I thought I would see.
I'm surprised it didn't get banned from Instagram. But we have to give a huge shout out to our friend Daniel Carrizales. I woke up this morning. I had a coffee. First thing I did is open Instagram, and there he was, beardless. And I was like, wait, this guy looks vaguely familiar, but that's not Daniel. Then I realized he shaved his beard, and I was, it was amazing to see. I never thought it would happen. Big shout out to Daniel.
And right now, the only way you can see this is on Instagram.
He put out a video this morning, though. Maybe he's beardless in his video.
I don't. Oh, I didn't see.
I thought he put out a video this morning, so I had to check.
Did he? Okay. Well, we will put a link down to his Instagram where you can see that if you are watching this on YouTube, or maybe Steve, when you're editing this, you can just go grab a screen grab from Instagram and throw that up during this spot. Or if you're listening on podcast.
No, he's
still got his beard. Do not stop in traffic and try to look at this picture, but we'll put the link below to our friend Daniel's Instagram. We've been trying to get him to come on this show, but he's a busy guy shaking over there in Greece. So anyway,
yeah, where were we going with all this?
Well, where we were going was that what do you do with these things? Why don't we do it more? Why? And the reason that we don't do it more is because we don't use it on a daily basis to like look at what's happening. Mm-hmm. Like we watch YouTube, so I would have seen his video. I would have seen his beardless face first on a video, most likely, if you hadn't told me about that, because he'd likely put a video up tomorrow or something, and I'd see it, and I'd see the no beard, because I watch YouTube and I look at my YouTube constantly through the day, not only for my channels, but for what I'm going to watch later, what's coming on YouTube and stuff like that. The way other people go to TikTok first in the morning, or they go to Instagram first in the morning.
Totally. And this is a great, is an interesting thing to talk about, because I don't believe that you need to be insanely active on all these platforms in order to be like a contributor to them. But I think that's you're absolutely right in saying that, I don't regularly post on TikTok or Instagram because I'm not on there for the most part. Like yourself, I'm a YouTube junkie.
I'm outgo only on all social media except YouTube. I'm not incoming. It's
exactly. And I think that that's fine. It's like I don't have time to scroll TikTok and Instagram. I have time for YouTube because that's what I enjoy significantly more than the other platforms.
For sure.
But I still think that I'd like, for example, I haven't really adopted Shorts on YouTube, but once I do kind of get there, then I'm just gonna feed that content to Instagram and TikTok and not even think about it. It doesn't mean I have to go onto TikTok and scroll for hours, but it is helpful to understand what are the the trending things, what's happening on those platforms, because it'll inform you in terms of like what kind of stuff you should be posting maybe, or or you get ideas from watching other people, like that's the same with YouTube. So
but let's go back to our topic, which is social media for composers and producers. Why do composers and producers want to put up TikToks? Why do they want to put up reels on Instagram? And I see people like our friend Mike Barnhill. He's putting up a lot of things. What is the goal for those videos, the shorts, and different things of them just playing guitar and stuff like that? Mm-hmm. Beyond being seen, I think it's the fact that they want to build following. And that's another thing to talk about in this is what kind of following are you trying to build? Are you trying to build a following of fans? Are you trying to build a following of friends and family? Are you trying to build a following of music supervisors or other people, let's say you and me, where they're trying to build followers of influencers? And to some extent, you could say that you and I are influencers because of our channels and things like that. And so who are you as a listener or watcher of this video or podcast trying to get following you on these channels? And what kind of content are you putting out to get people to follow you on that channel? Mm-hmm. For me, on TikTok or Instagram or YouTube, my content is going to people who need to consume the information that I'm teaching, basically. Or they are getting some goofy thing that has to do with my brand, so that they will follow my brand, so that eventually I can share with them more videos, more free content, and eventually maybe courses. You're selling courses as well through and getting people, trying to get people interested in the Production Music Academy. That's and right. I think that's where you start to say, and maybe for some composers who don't have a video channel like us, it's just about saying, hey, I'm making music, and right. I hope that the right people hear this so that they'll want to use my music in a TV show, or they'll want to use my music in their library or something like that.
Yeah. I mean, for me, it's a bit of both. Like, I'm trying to get people interested in the Academy, but I'm also, interested in, just getting people to listen to my music too. And I think it's helped to some extent with that as well, So people go to my Spotify or they, go to my SoundCloud, and nothing was really happening there before I was on YouTube. So, I mean, there's a bit of trickling down into all those kinds of areas, but yeah, primarily YouTube is a platform for people getting people interested in the Production Music Academy courses and stuff like that. So
I have at least 6 profiles on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, mainly Facebook pages as well. But Facebook will be the last thing I talk about today for various reasons, but or for reasons we said at the top. But right. I do different videos, and some of the videos I do are for my music brands, and I'm only caring that people listen and become followers of that music brand because they like it. And then eventually we'll guide them to Spotify or to my music channels. I also have Positive Spin Songs channel, which is only focused on following people who are in the music supervision areas or sync agents or libraries or things like that, because Positive Spin Songs has no channel for teaching. Positive Spin Songs is my composer output for exclusive music libraries and for television and film and all that kind of stuff. So my audience there. Yeah. So it really just, we're doing social media for is to build the audience we want. And if you're a composer just wanting people to hear your compositions, that's one thing. If you're a producer saying, I want work, I want people who want a producer to find me, I'm going to do stuff to put out stuff like that. I'm going to put out productions. If you're a channel that is a YouTube channel and you want people going and watching your videos and building your following, then you want those people who are interested in what you have to say. So I think that's a really important thing for TikTok or Instagram or any of these, really.
Yeah, well, we've talked about this before, and I've kind of disclosed that I have this sort of feeling of dread when I think about having to manage all these different profiles. So, the way I've kind of done things so far is to kind of have everything live under one roof, and there's some advantages and disadvantages to that. But, hearing you talk about how you have all these kind of separate profiles, and a lot of people have kind of conveyed that they're doing the same thing to me. It feels like a lot more work, but maybe it makes a lot more sense. And it's something I've been thinking a lot more about lately. It's like, maybe I should be, I should create a couple of different YouTube or TikTok and Instagram accounts. I mean, I have 2 Instagram accounts, but it's an interesting thought. And I think
it's so much cleaner than trying to do it all out of your own, because it's confusing for the follower who they're following and what you're trying to not sell them necessarily. I don't mean that, but what you're trying to convey to them. What message are you bringing to them? And if you are on one hand putting a post up about the new song you just did and you sent out to Google or whatever, and you did this job, and then the next minute you're talking about the Production Music Academy, and then the next minute you're talking about maybe the podcast or something like that. There are reasons that I separate Positive Spin songs, because I don't want to get that mixed up. I don't want that to have really anything to do with my teaching platforms, because the people I'm talking to on my teaching platforms are not the people that I want Positive Spin stuff going to. I mean, I'd be happy for them to follow Positive Spin songs, and everybody here can go follow Positive Spin songs. But I also have Creative Soul Records, which is a whole other thing that reaches only artists, and the only things I post on there is being in studio to do studio stuff and photo sessions and stuff for artists and things like that. So I think it's just you have different brands, and as you know, I'm a big believer in different brands that all bring in a different kind of music income and all have a different following. And it's not that hard to sit on Instagram and just change which account you're on and just go to the other account and then do your post for that brand and then go to your other account. Because there's lots of people who would follow Stephen Bedall because they know you, or because they're friends, or because they're family, or because they're professionals that you've worked with. But they're not necessarily interested in production and music academy stuff or stuff like that.
Well, you know what's really interesting is the poll that I put out like closer to the end of last year or like early this year. I can't remember, but I was curious about, like, because as you know, and what we're talking about here is like I put out different types of content on my YouTube channel. Some of it is like music production focused, others and it's basically a split between music production type content and content relating to like music licensing, right? And I think I was talking about this with Daniel too, is like I was having this kind of like dilemma last year about whether maybe I should separate those two into two different channels. And it seems to be that there's like a pretty healthy crossover between the topics, because, and in the poll that I posted, I asked what kind of content would you guys like to see more of? And I said, live composing streams, music licensing info, something else, and then all of the above. And it was overwhelmingly a vote for all of the above. So I took that as an indication to just keep posting all sorts of different content on my YouTube channel. But, I don't know. It's like it's
in your case, I think it's different than mine, because I have a jazz brand that doesn't have anything to do with Make Music Income or any of these things. I have a piano brand,
right?
And now I include all those brands at the bottom of all my channels, so people can see I'm involved with all these things, and they can go to that channel and follow it or like it if they want. But I think you being you and you having the Production Music Academy is all in one. I think it's close enough that you can still keep it one channel and not be a big deal. Now, when you decide to do another thing that is not tied to these two things as much, and maybe it's a new brand. What if you started a folk brand, and you really wanted to make that a thing, and you put that on Spotify, and it just said, you know what, this really needs its own Instagram, because it's a brand. Let's use your band for example. Your band doesn't share your channel, or it doesn't share your Instagram. I'm sure it has its own Instagram, and it has its own all the other channels and stuff. And so it's a separate entity that you have to switch to if you're going to do marketing for that band.
Yeah.
So that's probably what I'm talking about a little bit more than just having all these channels just to have them. I'm really trying to reach different people with Hello Composers than I am Make Music Income, or at least people who are thinking a little bit more towards composing and music things rather than just making income.
Yeah.
So, and then my Positive Spin thing is not for either of those people. It's not for creators at all. I'm trying to reach professionals with that brand. So I would want professional music supervisors going to my Make Music Income channel to find out about me, because I'm talking to a different audience there.
Gotcha.
You're kind of talking to the same audience on your channel. People who are interested in you and all your accomplishments that go along with being, and the reason that you are Production Music Academy and Production Tools. So I think that all makes sense for you right now. But
I'm convinced that splitting those topics up doesn't make sense.
No, not necessarily.
It seems to be sort of working, because the views that I get for the production stuff get as much views as I get for talking about music licensing stuff. So pretty much that they kind of even out.
I think that all goes together anyway.
Yeah, to some extent. I think could be a case to be made for making them separate, but it seems to work out. It seems to be working out for me.
I don't think you need to, because your academy is really based on people making music to use for licensing.
It's like sync license.
A lot of
it's
cases.
Sync based, music for sure.
All just licensing. I mean, whether it's stock sync, any kind of licensing. You know, I think your channel is based, and the producers who are coming to that channel are probably based more in that than producing for clients out in studios.
Mm-hmm.
But what you're teaching them will help them with that too, so it doesn't really matter. So
Right.
So let's talk about YouTube real quickly, and then LinkedIn. Let's just say that LinkedIn is like a professional Facebook. It's more professional, serious. I find that people on there are a little bit more focused on jobs, finding jobs, and finding factual information. But they have all the things. They have posts, they have pics, they have videos, they have groups, they have lots of. I think they have stories now. They have all those things. But I think that's for people who are kind of pointed in a business direction, especially looking for jobs.
Yeah.
And then Facebook is just an oasis for
advertisements,
family, friends, advertisements, everything, for going into the metaverse, whatever that is. A year from now, we're just going to have like cartoon avatars.
I'm on.
Podcast.
I got the Oculus Quest 2. If anyone wants to play ping pong with me online.
Okay. To me, sorry, this is an aside, but VR seems like a 20-year-old tech. I can't believe we're moving back towards VR. I mean, I remember wearing goggles 20 years ago, and
I remember trying out a VR headset when I was really young too. It was like really crude and I was like, but this is cool. But it's amazing how far it's gone.
So you're telling me we're going to go from this, walking around like this, to walking around like this. That's going to be our life. Is people walking down the street with
Well, you'll have those Google glasses. It'll be like augmented reality. It'll be
now augmented reality is different. I could see that being a thing that's very useful, but just wearing a goggle, I don't know about that. But we'll see. But Facebook is the place that, like it or not, and I bet you if we did a poll, we wouldn't get the real answers from the people that say, if I said, do you use Facebook? And everybody would say, no, man, that's old tech. And I bet you they're still all on Facebook in some way. Not that we use it, but we have
Facebook
a personal one.
On Facebook is very different questions.
Yep.
Because I'm on Facebook. I've been on Facebook since, I don't know, 2005 or 6 or whatever. And I do not use it anymore, man. I go on it once in a blue moon. And sometimes I'll get a Facebook Messenger thing, notification that'll bring me onto the platform, but I do not use it anymore.
I don't really have a personal Instagram. So I will use the personal Facebook to say, man, Boba Fett, that show stinks, or something like that.
Oh, I saw that. Yeah. I see, because I was on Facebook the other night and I saw that you posted something. I was like, oh, so Eric's posting on Facebook. I occasionally make the post on Facebook, and
it's personal stuff, and sometimes I'll only turn the family. I have a list that only goes out to my family, and so if it's a family type of thing, or I'm sharing Christmas pictures or something of my family, it'll only go to my relatives and to my close friends, and so it won't go to you, for example. I'm just kidding.
Right.
It won't go to everybody out there who's friends with me through business or whatever. It just goes because sometimes you just want to share personal stuff to family. And I know my family is older than me, and they're all on Facebook most likely.
Right.
So I will share stuff out that way rather than Instagram. And I don't understand the Instagram private account and all that kind of stuff. Why even bother? So I do that on Facebook, but I do that once a month, maybe, put a post out on Facebook, and it's only when I want to say something about some show or something I watched or something,
Yeah, it was funny, thinking back on Facebook and just grinding so hard on it for the longest time when I was doing the band thing, when I was much more active with the band, trying to get getting the likes on the Facebook page, that was like a big deal at one point,
Yeah.
you know, and that was like a real like solid metric of like how much of a like.
Well, dude, when you
it's
first
crazy.
started with the Facebook page, or the fan page, as they used to call it.
Yeah.
Anytime you put a post up, if you had 1,000 people that were on your list, 1,000 people saw it. And then slowly that trickled down to now
To
where
100. Now it's like no one. Now there is no such thing as organic reach with the
five people see, especially if you put a YouTube video up. If you put a link out away from Facebook,
Yeah, they just said, they're like, no, we're not showing
Nobody
this to
sees it.
anyone. Yeah,
and
if
you have to pay for people to see it.
Yeah, it's a totally different beast now. But you know, it's funny, Facebook, because I used to be like back, I don't know how many years ago now, but it was so like I was just like a junkie on Facebook. I was always on it, always watching the feed. I think it was kind of like Trump being elected that kind of ruined everything on Facebook, because it became like just everything sort of became like had their political opinion at one point, and then there was so much toxic, you know, discourse going on in the feed. All of a sudden, it was like people like, you know, writing these like, you know, insane, angry posts. Everyone's getting, you know, upset, and that I realized it was like, oh, this isn't a fun place to hang out anymore. It wasn't really. It didn't feel healthy anymore, so I just kind of said goodbye, and I never turned back. I've never really been on it anymore.
I will say this about Facebook, still for older clients who want people to see things on their personal pages. Let's say their friends and family, and they want to spread the news that they have a new album out or they have a new single out on Spotify or something.
Yeah,
we will make a page still. But what we will do is use that page to share to their personal profile. I think the personal profile is probably more valuable than the page anymore. And so if I want to share a video and you want the most people to see your video, possibly see your video, you better post it native to Facebook or native to Instagram. Now, the problem with Facebook is you're going to get really low watch time. I mean, like 10 seconds, because you're dealing with people just doing this. They're just scrolling. And if they pause and see that you've got a video and go, cool, and they like it or they don't like it, but they pause there for a few seconds, that counts as a view at Facebook.
Yeah, I know.
And so you can get 1,000 views and go, wow, my video got 1,000 views in one day. Yeah. Well, it got 1,000 pass-bys.
Totally. Totally.
And if you look at, and there's a few people who may have watched it, your mom or your aunt or your friend, and they may have watched it all the way through. But the rest of the people aren't watching it. And they actually have a metric on Facebook for your videos, especially music videos and things like that, of 3-second views. That's a metric. You got 300 3-second views. To me, that's like, why do you tell me that? That's almost like a slap in the face that I got I got 1,000 views, but 900 of them were 3-second views. That means nothing. They didn't watch my 5-minute masterpiece song that I put up there.
Yeah.
And then the second metric is 10-second views, and it drastically reduces.
Yeah,
and then if you watch it, there's just a line where it drops down to 15% or something like that for almost all, especially music videos. Now, if it's somebody talking and they're being real energetic and they're talking about a subject and doing that, then you're into real type territory, and it might be that people watch more of that video, or if it's a live video where they're talking, maybe some people will watch more of that. But for music videos, it's a real dead end street, even though it feels like you're getting a lot of views. It makes you feel good because every time somebody passes by and they look at this video, the view count's below, and it'll say this video got 1,500 views, and that might impress somebody in your family or somebody in business. So I tell people, hey, if you want to look impressive, upload natively to Facebook and you'll look super impressive, even though you're not getting that much watch time if you look at the stats. So
I think
that breaks their hearts.
Yeah, totally. I remember
the second thing.
Thinking about that exactly, because I remember posting videos natively for my band on Facebook, and the view count was huge, but the likes were actually really minimal. You know, so it's like there was something kind of disparity there.
And unless you get people commenting talking about it and there's a lot of conversation going back and forth, it's not going to stay active in the feed. So, but I will say the one thing about Facebook that you can do, and when I say Facebook in this instance, I mean Facebook/Instagram, is their ads. There's two kinds of ads that you should be doing if you are interested in doing ads. One is Facebook ads for almost anything, getting people to your website, getting people to your YouTube video, getting people to your sale or whatever. And then there is Google ads that you do through YouTube and through just Google searches and things like that. And Facebook ads program is probably a little easier. Well, not probably. It's a lot easier to use than Google ads, because Google ads get into all sorts of craziness when you're trying to make one. I don't know if you've ever tried to.
I've never tried.
You've ever done them before.
Yeah, no.
Ooh, they're harder. And Facebook is pretty easy. There's just a few screens, and you're going to Facebook and Instagram, and it shows you what the ads look like on Facebook and Instagram. And likely Instagram is where a lot of people are going to be hanging out. And if they're not, they're on Facebook as far as age demographic. Lower ages, 50 and under is going to be on Instagram, 50 and above is going to be on Facebook. So if you're selling a Christian music ballad, it's probably going to play more to 55 and older, and maybe that's your audience. I know some of my clients who that is their audience. They're happy for that audience to see that because they're actually going to buy stuff. But so Facebook is good for ads, and I know my wife uses it for Reels. She's not really on Instagram or TikTok necessarily, so she does the TikTok Reels thing on Facebook, which and just like you and I probably see more of those kind of short things on YouTube because we watch YouTube Shorts. Now, and let's kind of end on YouTube, because I think YouTube offers two of the greatest social sides of things. And we haven't even really talked about Discord in this, because I think Discord really is another social media platform.
Oh, yeah.
And maybe we can talk about that in a minute. But YouTube, I think, is great for two reasons. Number one, the community tab. When you get to a place where you can, and you have to have 500 followers. They just brought it down to 500 recently in the past year. Mm-hmm. If you have 500 subscribers on your YouTube channel, you can use the community thing. And I think this is one of the most powerful things about YouTube. I've started using it from the day I could use it, because I wanted to do polls.
Yeah.
I wanted to re-push videos out. You can push videos back out again and say, hey, in case you didn't see this video, take a look at it. And it's like you're posting it again, afresh. And on our Dan Barracuda video where we had Dan as a guest, I did a separate community post a day or two later that went just to that point in the video, because you can go right to certain points of a video. So, and I've done that with my rants, and I've done that with different things in my video where I have a timestamp. You can go right to that timestamp from a community post.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, and then you could just you can put pics up like you do at Instagram. It can be a form of Instagram for your YouTube. And sometimes you and me likely have more people watching us on that would see that than that would see it on Instagram. So it's like YouTube has its own Instagram, or it has its own Facebook that we know people are going to watch because we have subscribers who want to see that content. Mm-hmm. So I think the community tab is one of the best social media things that I have available to me right now. And then followed by, of course, comments that we get on our videos, which can turn into conversations sometimes with people.
Yeah, so, the more comments, the better, because the algorithm sees that and it makes, pushes it out. And the more activity, the better. That's why we always encourage people to leave comments on the videos. And besides that, it's great because I love hearing people's thoughts on the video too. So it's a great way to communicate with people, and a great way for the video to get pushed and recommended.
Absolutely. And we use that every week, you and I, and when we put since we share the podcast, we put it out on my channel and your channel, but people really don't know that. They don't really care because we both push it from our community page if they see it. And so they see, the only place you don't see community tabs is on an iPad, by the way. You don't see community things. I don't think so.
Weird.
But you see them on your phones and you see them on computers, but I don't know if you see them on tablets.
I don't have an iPad, so I wouldn't know.
Mm-hmm. So, and then the last thing is Discord. This is probably, I would put this above Facebook these days, especially since I've been involved with it with your group, which later became my group or our group, the Make Music Income Discord. which, by the way, we always have in the links below, and we have the right link in there now. But man, that thing's over 400 people in there now, and it's like Facebook without the distractions. It's just a place you can go to have conversations and find interesting info about exactly the thing that we talk about, all the different ways of making music income that we talk about. And we have different sections in there. And I check that before I check any social media.
Yeah.
I check that, then I check your academy, to be honest with you.
I check it daily too. And it's crazy how much information it just trickles down to me in the Discord. I could be totally wrong about this, but I don't think that there's any kind of like discoverability sort of aspect on Discord. It's kind of like, you get the links
private.
It's like you get the links to the communities off Discord from somewhere, maybe YouTube, or wherever. And then
but I think that's what it's meant to be. I don't think they want it to be a Facebook. Necessarily.
I know. I'm just saying it's like I don't think it's like it's different. It's different in terms of that one aspect, like because like all the other social media platforms are kind of like discovery. The intention is that they're discoverable platforms. Like you can go find new people to follow, but I don't think Discord works that way. Or at least I could be mistaken because I'm definitely not a Discord expert, but I don't think anyone's stumbled across the Make Music Income Discord channel on Discord.
That wasn't invited, is what you're saying.
Yeah.
Yeah, because if you go to just to discord.com, it says your place to talk and listen. No. Talk and hang out.
Right.
So I don't see a way to go searching for Discords, but maybe there is. And maybe if you're listening to this and you know that there is like a directory or something like that, you can let us know. But I don't see it on their front page. I think it's more meant to be like an old-fashioned message board, like the back in the days of AOL or back in the days of actual message boards where you just went to this one message board and you just answered stuff there. Right. And I think that's a little refreshing because I don't have to worry about ads from Facebook. I don't have to worry about people coming in there that have no interest in this particular stuff. They're not like, who are you people? This is stupid and all that kind of, you don't worry about that. And I think if it was open on the front end where anybody could just find it and stumble into it, it would be worse. I think it wouldn't be worth having thousands of people in there that don't care about the subject.
Yeah, no one's there that doesn't want to be there. That's the great thing about it. It's like everyone is there for a reason. Even it's funny. Even the people who aren't interested, they go.
But it's open ended. We can send people anywhere, and Discord will not show a post that we're saying, hey, go listen to this song on SoundCloud or go listen to our podcast or go watch our video. It's totally open versus Facebook or probably any of those platforms do not want you leaving the platform. YouTube's probably YouTube and LinkedIn are open up, but I bet you YouTube's the most open of any of those because YouTube, it puts any link we tell it to put up there. All the rest of them, Instagram only has the link in bio. TikTok only has the link in bio. They have some things, I think, on some of the stories where you can put a link and stuff like that. But Facebook only lets you see the links it wants you to see. LinkedIn only lets you see the links it wants you to see. It limits who can see what because it doesn't want you leaving the platform.
Yeah, YouTube doesn't want you to leave the platform either. But that doesn't, mean that you can't post links in this description of your videos. And also you need to, they make you jump through some hoops before you link to an external site on the cards in the YouTube videos. Yeah. It needs to be like, they need to actually vet whatever, and you only get one link. I'm pretty sure. So you have to for me, it's productionmusictools.com. And they have to kind of vet it and approve it. So
I don't do much of that. I think almost all my cards are to other videos because I believe in really growing the YouTube channel from the YouTube channel. So
I don't do much.
Well, man, this has been super a lot. So sorry, folks, this is a long one, but it's just because there's so much to talk about with this. And I hope this has been helpful. Any last words there, Steve?
Yeah, well, I guess we didn't really talk about Spotify that much because it's a social media
Yeah,
platform
but
as well.
I think Spotify, I don't really look at Spotify as social media. Do you talk to people at Spotify? I don't.
No, but you follow them, and it's. I mean, yeah, I don't know. You don't. There's not. I guess there's not like the communication aspect of it isn't really there.
I think the definition of social media is you have to be able to be social on it, and if you're not talking to people back and forth, I wouldn't call that a social media network. I know people think of Spotify that way.
Yeah, that's fair.
I think it's a one way of following. You can follow people, but you don't talk to people. And I think being social means you're speaking to each other. You're being social with someone.
Yeah.
And so now we could get into a whole episode about all the different places, Apple Music versus Spotify versus SoundCloud versus all these. I mean, in some ways you could do more of that on SoundCloud. SoundCloud could be included as like a YouTube, but I'm not a big fan of SoundCloud right now with all their ads.
We didn't talk about SoundCloud, and we should have touched on that a bit because some
people use it that way.
I think SoundCloud is pretty great. It's changing. It's changed a lot, but I think it's got some discovery. It's built in there, and
some social aspects.
Yeah, there's some social aspects, and I mean I get nothing but like scammy messages in the inbox. Right. And I think there's a lot of that floating around SoundCloud, but I think it's a nice kind of like pre-Spotify place. If you're not really like sure about what you want to put up on Spotify, you're not sure whether you want to like pay a distributor to put it on there. It's like it's a great free option. In the same in a way, it feels like kind of like the Pond 5 of putting your music out there. I suppose it's like it's really easy to do it, and it's totally free.
Yeah, I think of SoundCloud and Disco as and things like that as discovery and or places to put your music to show people. Spotify and Apple don't really count as places to show people because not everybody can access Spotify if they don't have an account or Apple.
That's true.
But anybody can go to a SoundCloud thing that's public. Anybody can go to a disco list that's public. And there are other versions of that too, probably like Bandcamp and things like that where we can talk
Bandcamp.
about.
Yeah, totally.
But our focus here was really social media, being social media on TikTok. One thing we didn't talk about was Twitter. And I'm sure there are going to be people in the comments that say, "Hey, what about Twitter?" But
that is so true. Yeah, we totally neglected Twitter.
Well, I did that on
You're
purpose.
Not on Twitter, right?
I are you kidding? I have 100 Twitter profiles.
Oh God,
you know me from all my brands and all my clients' brands, but nobody's using it.
I have a Twitter account. I am never on Twitter. I feel like. I don't know what it is about Twitter. It just doesn't appeal to me.
Twitter was the same way for me. It was a total, I went out and I never looked at it to read stuff. Yeah. Now, I know a lot of people who are interested in news and news feeds and what is happening right now with certain events. So like during the Capitol, thing or during the Super Bowl or whatever. Yeah. People are on Twitter for second by second, like commentary on what's going on.
Totally, yeah.
But I don't think that as many music people are doing that. Now, there's going to be a lot of people that are probably on that and use that a lot for their music. I just don't, and it doesn't sound like you do. And so, and most of my artists just don't. And so the people in music just don't seem to be hanging out there as much anymore. So that's one reason we didn't cover it. But it is a place that you can do links from. It is another place that holds back who sees your tweets, depending on if you are sending them somewhere else and taking them off platform. So it used to be as important as it used to be Facebook pages and Twitter. That is the big two, and now neither of those are in my top 5 really.
Yeah, Twitter's never been there for me, but I think a lot of people. I think there's probably a lot of musicians and artists doing their thing on Twitter that I'm just know so little about it. I'm so unfamiliar with the platform. I just really can't speak to it at all. So if you guys are Twitter users and throw your comments in this video, let us know.
Please let us know. We'll do some kind of poll in one of our or both of our things about which one do you use the most, and I'm sure Twitter will be at the bottom of that, I would imagine.
Yeah.
Even below Facebook, I would imagine.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I'd be curious to see that.
All right. Well, It's a great conversation, man, and I hope you guys enjoyed this. Please leave comments if you can. Please like our podcast and our channels if you can, if you get a chance. And we hope you're enjoying this content. We have a lot of fun talking about it. So until next week, I think that'll do it.
See you guys. Take care.
See you later.